Have you ever heard the phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know? I've had many opportunities to sit chair to chair with hiring managers and review resumes. In fact, in a recent job posting, I co-reviewed over 36 resumes. Some submissions included various versions, I'll say, of introduction and cover letters. Most resumes, though, unfortunately did not pass the 3-second scan test. When asked for top choices, I struggled to find any resume candidates that strongly stood out. While trying to rank resumes into the top category, there were a few that were better than the rest, but they weren't home runs by any means. Ultimately, the hiring company chose to interview several candidates based on referrals or recommendations. The key point I want to get across is that none of these resumes would have earned any applicant an interview. We're going to skip the resume talk this episode and focus on what got these folks the interviews. Their networks thought of them highly and either referred them or made interviewing recommendations to hiring managers. Up next on Career Growth Made Easy, how to expand your network. I was an engineer and in 2008 lost my job due to the economic collapse. Jobs were scarce. I didn't know where to turn to get help updating my resume. Online services and coaches charge hundreds, even thousands of dollars. I took matters into my own hands and learned how to craft interview-winning resumes. Shortly later, I landed a job with a Fortune 500 company. I've helped many achieve similar success. Now I share my tips to create interview-winning resumes, interviewing excellence, and high-performance growth strategies on my podcast, Career Growth Made Easy. Hey there, it's Craig Ansell, and I'm your host for today's show from the Career Growth Made Easy podcast. We're at episode, 203. That's amazing. And our show title, How to Expand Your Network. On my introduction, I talked about, or rather asked you, had you ever heard this phrase or this saying? It's not what you know, it's who you know. And for the purpose of today's show, that hits an absolute bullseye, that statement right there. So we're going to dive into that and see how to expand your network. And you're going to get some key tips, some key tools to help you succeed by expanding your network in a quality way. We'll start off with this. Have you ever heard of an elevator pitch? And that's in the old days, the doors of the elevator open, you see somebody that's either famous or somebody that maybe you'd like to work for or a company you'd like to work with. You recognize their outfit, their attire, something like that. Maybe they had a name tag on and you kind of like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I've always wanted the opportunity to talk to them and maybe work with them or work for them. And then you can't find the words. You open your mouth, but the words don't come out. Or you might just use some small talk. Hey, how you doing? Great. Good. Nice elevator. Yep. Hey, this great weather, isn't it? Sure is. It's a bit warm, though, for my liking. You know what? Me too. It is a bit hot in Florida this year. That really wasn't constructive. That really didn't provide much value. Here's something else that sometimes happens that actually hurts our chances of networking. Hey, how you doing? My name's Craig. How are you? I'm Bob. Nice to meet you. So what's going on, Craig? Well, I work for this company. I work as a project manager. Oh, okay, that's great. What do you do? And then you talk about the things you do. Or you introduce yourself as, hi, I'm Craig. I'm a project manager. Or, hey, I'm Craig. I'm a career coach. That talks about what you do, your title. In an older episode, I talked about your title does not define you. If you're going to be working on greetings, introductions, expanding your network as we get into this show, you need to think about the value you bring in the role you either had or currently have, the value you bring. That's how you're going to expand your network. If you say, hey, and you want to be around like-minded individuals, public speakers, people in sales, people in marketing. That's fine. Hey, I'm a fellow marketer. I'm involved in this. That's a good way to start to kind of connect. And so that's an initial entry point. But if you had a room full of the same people, hey, we're all in sales, great. What makes each of you, what makes each of us specific, unique individuals? And that's where we can look at expanding our network in a different way, a more positive way. By giving off the sense that you have confidence, giving off the feelings that you're assertive, you're driven, and that you have something to offer, use word choice to explain who you are, what you do differently. If we always start with, hey, I'm Craig, I'm an engineer, nice to meet you, that's a good icebreaker, but then what? We typically talk about our job tasks, our job duties, and that couldn't be farther from the truth when it comes to interviewing and putting content on resumes. But I'm going to take it differently and say, let's stop talking about what we do in networking as much as the value we bring, something unique, a unique value statement, a unique proposition statement to help expand your network. If there's been somebody that you've worked with or been around, it could be in school, it could be, at work, could be volunteering, and you have a similar job role. You're both engineers, you're both technicians, you're both in customer service, maybe sales, marketing, nursing, medical, field service, it doesn't matter. If you feel drawn to someone or ever have felt drawn to someone and they're in a similar category to you as far as your work, your background, your trade, why do you think you feel that way? Or why have you felt that way? Did you ever take time to just pause and ask yourself, why am I attracted to this person in the sense of, is it their energy? Is it their work ethic? The way they talk? You need to find out, I think, why you're attracted to certain people, and what causes you to be interested, engaged, feel happy, feel positive around them. If they have something that you don't have and you can't put a figure on it, maybe you should go up to them and talk to them. Maybe you should ask them out for a coffee, a tea, an appetizer. If not, sit with them during a break or during a lunch break and just kind of get to know them. In expanding your network, you're getting to know people, but you're going beyond your job tasks, your duties, your job functions, and getting to know them inside, what makes them tick, what drives them forward. And when you start to become aware of other people's skill sets, their energy, their drive, their passion, their assertiveness, that's where you start to see they have something that I don't have, or I feel connected with them and they have something that I want to emulate. But to say, hey, let's all go out there and be assertive after listening to today's show doesn't really get us anywhere. What does get us somewhere is identifying what drives us, what makes us feel good in life. What are we looking for? Do we have missions? Do we have vision statements? Do we have an idea of where we want to be in life? That there should be short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals for us, regardless of where you are in your job search, your career. Nothing wrong with that. And then if you continue to listen to this show, which I'd appreciate, in 3 or 6 months, those short-term goals should be achieved. If not, they should be evaluated and reset. Determine if they should stay on your list and check off the ones you've completed, or if you're struggling with all your short-term goals, maybe reevaluate them. Are they true short-term goals, or will it simply take longer? If you can't check off your short, mid, long-term goals as you slowly progress in life, in your job, and your career, maybe they're not the right goals for you. Maybe you're not putting the right focus on them, the right effort, the right energy and time, or you've got them miscategorized. If a short-term goal is meant to be done in the next 3 to 6 weeks, 3 to 6 months perhaps, and you simply can't achieve it even if you work, let's say, full-time on it, then that's really not a short-term goal. What you can do, though, is break down those goals so that you make progress. Today's show isn't really about goal achieving as much as it's about vision, thinking about where you want to be, where you want to go, what you want to do, what you're going to be excited to do in your career, in your job going forward. And with that said, unlocking that passion, that understanding of who you are, what you want to do, what you want to be, where you want to work, who you want to work around, will help you identify the network that you should go after. And again, there's nothing wrong with being around like-minded people, fellow engineers, fellow technicians, medical, nursing, sales, marketing, you name it. However, when you expand your network, It will usually be done with having similarities to other people and then also being unique. We don't need a bunch of people all in the same category, all with the same vision and the same goal statements. That's not really unique. What you want is to have a diverse group of people in your network so that you can call upon that and reference them from time to time. You might know multiple people in a medical field, but one you have a certain relationship with in your network that you can call upon for, let's say, medical advice. Another you might have that happens to work in the medical field but always knows when open medical positions are available. So those are two people in the medical field, both supporting your network differently. One with medical advice because they're a nursing or doctoral position, and then the other in more of a personnel or human resources position. Now, that may not be the role they're physically in. They may just have their eyes and ears down, listening and keeping aware of what's going on for open positions. So thinking about your network, do you have any holes in your network right now? No. What categories, what fields does your network need to contain? Where do you feel that you're strong? Where do you feel that you're lacking? Start thinking about the people you know, the people that your friends, coworkers, fellow students know, and start thinking about networking in those arenas. And there's absolutely a great opportunity for networking through mentoring. Mentoring is typically done as a courtesy where you mentor or co-mentor each other. A mentor can be the lead, and then the mentee is the receiver. Over time, as you do mentoring and menteeing, you'll slowly start to build up your mentoring abilities, knowledge, and network, and you might become a co-mentor. And then in the future, instead of being that mentor, you'll just be co-mentor. You will learn from another mentor, and you will co-mentor back and forth, share. And in doing that, you're building your network. Then, when opportunities come for new mentees to come on board, you could be one of those co-mentors or mentors. And with that said, you're expanding your network. You'll notice there are going to be some people that all they want is to receive, and that's fine. We want to grow. We've recognized a weakness or an area we want to improve, and you'll be helping that aspect in your network. However, for the people that also want to give back and realize they've started to mature, they have something to offer, that helps you expand your network by realizing their skill sets, their expertise, their vision, their background, their network. So in a sense, you're building co-networks, kind of taking your hands and expanding out all your fingers, stretching out all your fingers. You've now taken the hands and all 5 fingers are networking out. And then those people that you're touching and shaking hands with and building networks with, they're expanding out their hands, and your network is just multiplying and multiplying. So it does start with potentially similar views, similar fields of interest, whether it's work or hobby, volunteering, doesn't matter. But then after that, what makes you unique? What drives you? And that's where you might find you can really build a strong network by going after your drive. For me, for example, as a career growth coach, I love helping people one-on-one obtain higher paying, higher quality jobs, whether they're in a toxic environment and are looking to pull the cord and get out, or someone has unfortunately lost a job like I did years ago due to downsizing, reduction in force, reduction in hours. If you're in that situation, I have a really strong process to go through to help you quickly find a higher paying, higher caliber job. I enjoy that. It brings me such excitement to see the light bulb go off when clients, we work together and they go from a job loss or a toxic job to multiple interviews lined up. Their confidence, their strength, their posture, everything just improves, and they're back on the road to recovery for their jobs and their careers. But something else that excites me, talking about vision and mission, is helping out for companies that have youth involved, right? There's a number of companies out there where there's a homeless population. There are youth that are aging out of our youth care services because they're becoming adults, and they can use services such as career growth coaching to help them put their first resume together, help them dress for an interview, and talk about interviewing techniques that'll help them move into their first jobs and first careers now that they're out of these youth care programs due to aging out. Those things really excite me, helping out in the industry. So I try to focus on those things and target them when those opportunities become available. And that also, not by intention, but that also expands my network. It now puts me in touch with people in a similar area that have needs, or maybe similar career growth coaches that we could complement each other and work together someday. You never know when your network, through work, through school, through volunteering, could help you expand and grow. And so think about that, how to expand your network as we close today's show. What things are you doing that aren't working so well, therefore you might like to change? And what things aren't you doing that you should start doing? I've given you a number of ideas here to think about, including mentoring, looking at your groups in volunteering, school, as well as your job. See if you can connect with some of those people, especially the ones you're drawn to that seem to have a natural energy or an aura about them that you're interested, and just introduce yourself and talk to them. Tell them why you'd like to work on a mentoring or a networking program with them, to something informal, just to get it started and see. Those people will start to be on your mind. You'll start to be on their minds. And then over time, as you build up your network, your skill sets, your abilities, you will get recognized. You know what? There's an opportunity coming up, and I thought of Craig because we had been networking, and now I know that he's available for X, or I know that he's interested in Y. So that's how you can expand your network, doing it differently. And I start off today's show with some challenging ways to do things because I wanted you to see, yes, you need to build out your resume. Yes, it's important to have a cover letter or a proper introduction letter. However, those things don't always get you the interview, as we've seen. Now, if they're done well, they usually will, but you can also rely on your network to help you. So keep your network positive. Try to avoid negative situations, toxic networking situations, and toxic people, and remove or stay away from those that don't align with your goals, your aspirations, your career interests. Thanks so much for listening to me, Craig Ansell, your host. And we're closing out the Career Growth Made Easy podcast, episode 203, How to Expand Your Network. See you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our channel. New episodes every Monday. In the meantime, why don't you follow us on social media at Craig Ansell on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. To book a coaching appointment, download our free guides, or join our email list, check out the links in the description below.